बिस्मिल्लाहिर्रहमानिर्रहीम अल्लाहुम्मा सल्लि अला सय्यिदिना मौलाना मुहम्मद व अला आलि सय्यिदिना मौलाना मुहम्मद व बारिक वसल्लम अलैहि। All students, learners all over the world, assalamu alaikum. My today's topic is active and passive voice present continuous part 2. Those who have recently joined me, please do watch part 1, then you will be able to understand present continuous passive voice. It's essential for you. Those who have seen my first video can easily understand this, right? Let's move to the first sentence. What does it say? It says she is writing an application, and I told you two types of objects. One is called direct object, the other is called indirect object. Direct object is one which refers to a thing, whereas indirect object is one which refers to a person. Right? Here we have a direct object. Right? This is an object. What happens active to passive? When we are changing active sentence into passive, we bring object in place of the subject. And application. When you have brought object in place of the subject, you have to see very carefully whether the object is singular or plural. Now here we have a singular object. We have to use is. Then we have to add being, and the first form will change to the third one. Written by her. In Urdu we say she is writing an application. वो एक दरखास्त लिख रही है. An application is being written by her. एक दरखास्त उसके जरिए लिखी जा रही है. Now I would like to mention the first part here. Let me change this sentence into present indefinite tense. She writes an application. An application is written by her. Now, in the first part that I taught you in present indefinite tense, she writes an application. An application is written by her. एक दरखास्त उसके जरिए लिखी जाती है. See the difference. In present continuous tense, we use the word being. Whereas in present indefinite tense we don't use. बाकी तमाम चीजें आप देख लें सेम, सिर्फ ये being का डिफरेंस आता है. Naturally Urdu will be changed too. Let's move to the second one. She is burning those letters. Those letters. Here we have the plural object. Those letters we have to use are. Those letters are being का इजाफा होगा, and this first form will change into the third one. Burned by him. He is burning those letters. वो खतूत को जला रहा है. Those letters are being burned by her. वो खतूत उसके जरिए जलाए जा रहे हैं. Now let's move to the third one. That is an interrogative sentence. अब interrogative sentence में क्या होता है? अब मैं आपको स्टेप बाय स्टेप बता रहा हूं सो दैट इट कैन बी इजी फॉर यू टू डू इट। फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल, चेंज द सेम सेंटेंस इनटू पॉजिटिव फॉर्म। इसको करने का आसान तरीका क्या है? इस सब्जेक्ट को हेल्पिंग वर्ब की जगह ले आए और इस हेल्पिंग वर्ब को सब्जेक्ट की जगह ले आए, ये पॉजिटिव सेंटेंस बन जाएगा। दे आर बीटिंग माय सर्वेंट। पहले वाले की उर्दू क्या थी? आर दे बीटिंग माय सर्वेंट, क्या वो मेरे नौकर को मार रहे हैं? नाउ आई हैव चेंज इनटू द पॉजिटिव फॉर्म, दे आर बीटिंग माय सर्वेंट, वो मेरे नौकर को मार रहे हैं। इस स्टेप के बाद चेंज द सेम इनटू पैसिव वॉइस, माय सर्वेंट। सिंगुलर ऑब्जेक्ट है, इजाफे का बीइंग का इजाफा होगा और ये फर्स्ट फॉर्म थर्ड में तब्दील हो जाएगी, बीटन बाय देम। They are beating my servant. My servant is being beaten by them. वो मेरे नौकर को मार रहे हैं, मेरे नौकर को उनके जरिए मारा जा रहा है। जब आपने ये स्टेप कर लिया, that is you have changed into passive voice. Change, bring the helping verb in the beginning. इसको आप शुरू में लेके आते हैं। Is my servant being beaten by them? Put a question mark there. अब देखिए एक्टिव सेंटेंस था तो इसका पैसिव भी सवालिया था, एक्टिव वॉइस, तो इसका पैसिव भी सवालिया ही बनेगा। आर दे बीटिंग माय सर्वेंट, क्या वो मेरे नौकर को मार रहे हैं? इज माय सर्वेंट बीइंग बीटन बाय देम, क्या मेरे नौकर को उनके जरिए मारा जा रहा है? सवालिया का सवालिया पैसिव बनाना है। अब आपको ये जो स्टेप बताए गए हैं ओनली फॉर यू, यू कांट डू इट डायरेक्टली, दैट इज व्हाई आई टोल्ड यू द वे इट कैन बी डन इजीली बाय यू, राइट? नाउ लेट्स मूव टू द फोर्थ वन, हैविंग two objects. One is indirect object, the other is direct object. I have got a video on that I uploaded, that is two types of objects, direct object and indirect object. Let me remind you once again, a direct object is one which refers to a thing like ticket. Indirect object is one which refers to a person like you. Now, if a sentence having two objects, it can be put into passive voice either to use direct object or indirect object. Let me use first a direct object. A ticket. Singular object we have to use is, then we will have to add being, and this first form will change into third one. A ticket is being given. अब अगर आप डायरेक्ट ऑब्जेक्ट इस्तेमाल कर रहे हैं और उससे पहले इनडायरेक्ट ऑब्जेक्ट है तो उससे पहले 100% टू आएगा। So our ticket is being given to you by the manager. Or see, it can be changed into passive either to use direct object, which I have just using. Now I am using indirect object. Let's see. You है, you सिंगुलर है, आर है, you are being, इस फर्स्ट फॉर्म को थर्ड में कर दें, given a ticket by the manager. See, one sentence can be put into passive voice. Either use direct object or indirect object. The manager is giving you a ticket. Manager तुमको एक ticket दे रहा है. A ticket that is a direct object is being given to you. एक ticket तुम्हें दिया जा रहा है by the manager. In the second sentence, I have used an indirect object. You are being given a ticket by the manager. तुम्हें मैनेजर के जरिए से एक टिकट दिया जा रहा है. Now move to the fifth sentence. It says some boys are not helping this wounded man. Now I have got a negative sentence. This wounded man is an object, will come in place of the subject. This wounded man. अब आप इसके अंदर देखें, इसमें ऑब्जेक्ट जो है मैन, दिस wounded man is a singular one. We have to use is. नेगेटिव है, इसके बाद नॉट लगा दें, बीइंग का इजाफा करें और ये फर्स्ट फॉर्म को थर्ड में कर दें. दिस wounded man is not being helped by some boys. अब उर्दू भी सुन लें इसकी. Some boys, कुछ लड़के are not helping this wounded man. इस जख्मी लड़के की मदद नहीं, इस जख्मी आदमी की मदद नहीं कर रहे हैं. This wounded man, ये जख्मी आदमी is not being helped. उसकी मदद नहीं की जा रही है by some boys, कुछ लड़कों के जरिए से. Let's see the sixth one, that is very very important. Gardener is cutting grass. I must tell you, there are two types of nouns. One is called countable nouns. Countable nouns are those nouns which can be counted, like a pen can be 2 pens, 3 pens, 1 chair, 2 chairs, 3 chairs, 1 fan, 2 fans, can be 3 fans. But there is another word known as uncountable nouns. What are uncountable nouns? Uncountable nouns are those nouns which cannot be counted. Uncountable noun वो nouns होते हैं जिनको हम गिन नहीं सकते. Like grass. हमेशा आपने सुना grass is green. Let's see another one. Milk. Here. Milk. Uncountable nouns. We cannot count it. कभी किसी को कहते सुना हुआ है 2 दूध लेते आना, 4 दूध लेते आना. Here, grass, another word, rice. We cannot count it. Whenever we have got an uncountable noun, when we are changing into passive, we have to use singular word. That is, grass is. बीइंग का इजाफा करें और इस फर्स्ट फॉर्म को थर्ड में कर दें. कट by gardener. Grass is being cut by gardener. घास माली के जरिए से काटी जा रही है. Gardener is cutting grass. Right? Must have got it. Countable nouns and uncountable nouns. बस ध्यान में रखिएगा, जब कभी uncountable noun आएगा तो उसके साथ हमेशा is आएगा. Now, the last sentence. My aunt is sending me a book of pictures. Here also we have got 2 objects. One is an indirect object. Why? Because it is referring to a person, me. The other one, that is a book of picture, is a direct object because it is referring to a thing. Now, if a sentence having 2 objects can be put into passive voice, either to use direct object or indirect object. पहले मैं पढ़ता हूँ इसको direct objects. A book of pictures. Here students get confused. Why? He sees pictures. उसको देख के ये समझता है कि यार ये प्लूरल ऑब्जेक्ट है, whereas it is not. अब आप इसकी गौर से ट्रांसलेशन करें, a book of pictures, तस्वीरों की एक किताब, तो किताब तो एक हुई, किताब तो एक हुई, a book of pictures, तस्वीरों की एक किताब, किताब तो एक हुई, तो हम लगाएंगे इसमें बेटा is. Is that clear? being का इजाफा करेंगे, इस फर्स्ट फॉर्म को थर्ड में कर देंगे, send. अब हम डायरेक्ट ऑब्जेक्ट से कर रहे हैं, तो इनडायरेक्ट ऑब्जेक्ट से पहले टू आएगा, to me by my aunt, or let me change into passive by using indirect object. me है, I में कन्वर्ट हो जाएगा. आपको ये पहली वीडियो में मैंने बताया था, रूल्स को रिवर्स कर लें. जिस तरह I by me में तब्दील होता है, we by us में तब्दील होता है, they by them में तब्दील होता है, उसको रिवर्स कर लें. me है, I में कन्वर्ट कर दे, him है, he में कन्वर्ट कर दे, them है, they में कन्वर्ट कर दे, us है, we में कन्वर्ट कर दे. I है, I के साथ am आता है. I am being, इस फर्स्ट फॉर्म को थर्ड करें, send a book of pictures by my aunt. A book of pictures is being sent to me by my aunt, or I am being sent, मुझे भेजी जा रही है a book of pictures, तस्वीरों की एक किताब, by my aunt, मेरी खाला के जरिए से. Now come to the conclusion. अब इसके अंदर कौन कौन से हेल्पिंग वर्ब्स आते हैं? Let's look at here. Is and are plus being plus third form. इस कब आएगा? जब ऑब्जेक्ट सिंगुलर होगा. एम कब आएगा? जब सब्जेक्ट आई आ जाएगा. आर कब आएगा? जब ऑब्जेक्ट प्लूरल आ जाएगा. अब गौर से सुनते जाइए. What is the difference then in present continuous tense pacifies and in present indefinite tense pacifies? See this one. In present continuous tense you use the word being, whereas in present indefinite tense you don't use it. That is the only difference between them. Of course, translation will be surely different, but at least you should know. बाकी तमाम चीजें सेम हैं. प्रेजेंट कंटिन्यूस के अंदर इज आता है, एम आता है, आर आता है. प्रेजेंट डेफिनेट में भी इज आता है, एम आता है, आर आता है. लेकिन प्रेजेंट कंटिन्यूस में बीइंग का इजाफा होता है. राइट? आई एम श्योर you must have got me what I am trying to teach you. As usual, I have got an exercise for you. Here we are. Put the following sentences into passive voice. Number 1 says, he is listening to your lecture. Number 2 says, they are troubling me for nothing. Number 3 says, he is not learning this lesson. Number 4 says, the officer is offering him a job. Right? I have given you all types of sentences. This one having two objects. This one is a negative one. Right? Now move to the fifth one. Are the boys playing football? This is an interrogative sentence. Let's see, the sixth one is as well as an interrogative sentence. Am I watching you carefully? But in this sentence, you have got an indirect object. Right? I'm sure you must have got it. Please, before anyone of you hasn't watched my first video, please do watch it. Then move to the second one. Right? Inshallah ta'ala, in my next video, that is part 3, I will be discussing with you present perfect tense. Right? Inshallah ta'ala, I will be telling you all the tenses passive voice, and as well I will be telling you that these sentences cannot be put into passive voice. For instance, in present continuous can be put into passive voice, present indefinite can be put into passive voice, present perfect can be put into passive voice. The last one, that is present perfect continuous tense, cannot be put into passive voice. Right? Saleem Shahzad from home is saying to all of you, Allah Hafiz.